most likely in the mid lane position.
Yeah, we'll see where FPX go with this last ban. I mean, Lucian is a pick that comes to mind when I think of Yagao playing AD champions. I think Lucian is the one that would stand out the most, but it's possible that FPX just banned that one. Obviously, already banning one mid laner. They banned the Azir as well, so trying to remove some comfort. I will just say, it's not an AD pick, but that LeBlanc that we talked about is still open for Yagao if he wants to get spicy. I don't know how well that goes into Nocturne specifically, but Kennen being banned away here from Nocturne.
Alright, so we will find out where this Nocturne is going to go. We have seen Nocturne jungles, SOFM has played that, and it is going to be Orianna pick, so this is definitely not a flex, it's just going to be a straight mid lane champion. It's a really nice counter to things like Jinx. It prevents champions like Jinx from walking up and dishing out damage. In the meantime, it also, you can just put the ball onto Nocturne for that guided missile sort of combination. So FPX actually pivoting to a really safe draft, but still keeping their hands open in terms of where this Nocturne can end up. JD Gaming are going to go for a top lane. Actually, this could be mid lane as well. We haven't seen it from Yagao.
I was going to say, we don't even know yet. That could still just be a mid lane set as well. So we'll have to wait for this last pick for JDG to see what kind of comp they go for.
Yeah, it has to be one of their solo laners. Currently, they're going very brawl heavy. And I wouldn't be surprised about the Zoe, like Yagao's most famous champion.
Alright, so comfort there for Yagao to finish that draft out, and now FPX. With, I guess you could assume the Nocturne is now for TM, which we've said this guy loves to gank, loves to get into the lanes. Nocturne's certainly capable of doing that. And then Zoom can grab himself a counter pick for this set. And it feels apt that Zoom would go for the set as his blind pick. It feels like Set has been one of the premier top laners for Zoom over the last 2 years, or over the last year and a half, I guess. Nuguri goes for the Gangplank as the answer to round out this draft.
I really like FPX's draft so far. I feel like they have hit the nail on the head with reading what JD Gaming want to do. JD Gaming want to run at you and force brawls. They are not about subtlety. And FPX have so much zone control. You have the box and coming out on top of ramps. You have Orianna balls going down. And you also have cannon barrages and barrels that can impede JD Gaming's push. So I see this composition as if JD Gaming don't manage to find flanks, if they're doing what they usually do in regular split, which is just run at you, FPX is very much well set up for that. They are very much prepared. They have that paranoia to even close out on the communication that can come out for JD Gaming. It's very hard to coordinate a flank if you can't see each other on the screen. So I love FPX's draft. I think this is a draft where you sit on Drakes and you can stall out into the late game. And I think Doinby agrees with me. He is chuckling up a storm.
To be fair, it's almost... I can't remember the last time I watched Doinby on stage and he wasn't giggling. Even when they're losing, he seems to be giggling. So that Doinby will do Doinby things, but it does feel like FPX came in very prepared into this series, knowing what to expect from JD Gaming. They've drafted this beautiful composition specifically to face up against JDG. We'll see if this Aphelios hyper carry composition can work out for FPX in our first game of round 3 of playoffs. Go heading on to Summoner's Rift. Game number 1 here between FPX and JDG, and I'm expecting this to be an absolute banger. I'm expecting early game action despite the hyper carries in that bottom lane. The first Drake, so often the most important Drake for JD Gaming.
Yeah, they love to play around that. However, I do want to touch back again on the first pick. Lilia is kind of a weird champion in that we don't see her prioritized much in this patch whatsoever. People actually prefer the control mage and just a normal AD tank jungler most of the time, a turbo chem tank jungler. And for JD Gaming to pick this first round and to go for the blue side for it really signals how much they trust Kanavi, that they think that he is back in form and that his damage dealing capabilities are very important for the team. So we will have to pay close attention to how Kanavi actually farms up and sort of becomes this becomes this main carry for the team. I'm really surprised about this draft. It's something that I did not expect them to go for, but I think JD Gaming might actually have a bit of a longer term game plan. They do want to get a bit more farm on the Lilia compared to something that's more early game focused like a Volibear.
Yeah, I will say as well, when it comes to this JD Gaming draft, like, I hope FPX remembered their alarm clocks today, because with the Lilia and the Zoe, there's going to be a lot of snoozing going on from FPX during these skirmishes. So potential for QSSs to come on through to pay the tax, as it were, against this much. It's more than just CC, right? Because it enables a lot of damage from the comp as well. So feels like huge windows of opportunity there as Kanavi wants to start things off quickly here. Down towards the bottom lane. Slow on LWX. Cleanse already having to be used. Flash as well as Kanavi trying to chase it down. I think Crisp will turn into the target. FPX get away with it, but they burn 3 summoners defensively.
Yeah, that was a massive win. And in the meantime, Tian has to claw back with his pathing advantage here. So FPX, they knew that there was a leash on the bottom side. We saw Loken and Lurmao start them up for that. And FPX just sort of over-pushed without vision going down. And very critically in that exchange, we saw the Swirl Seed land, meaning that the Lilia gets to keep her Prance stacks active and go down for the chase. So super well done by JD Gaming. It's kind of interesting that they sort of sacrificed the early clear for Kanavi to get that gank going. But I think that's also the main reason why that FPX were caught off guard by this. If you think about Kanavi going on the Lilia, you think that she's going to go for a full clear. She's not going to sacrifice her pathing whatsoever. But JD Gaming have other ideas.
I will say, though, with FPX having no summoners defensively available in that bottom side, they're going to be really vulnerable within Aphelios right there. And Crisp, obviously, on that Thresh, will still have the Lantern available to try and save LWX's life, but if Kanavi wants to rinse and repeat that gank, could spell disaster for FPX. And also, even after the reset here from Loken, does already have a full one-wave advantage when it comes to the CS because of that early game skirmish.
Yeah, it's a pretty big advantage coming in from the bottom side for JD Gaming. If they can just set up and pull the wave closer, it's very awkward for FPX. They almost need to hover that lane by either their mid laner or having Nocturne coming down early. Now, I do also want to mention that Kanavi, because of the pathing side from Tian going from top to bottom, he doesn't actually lose out on the Scuttle. So it's not actually as bad for Kanavi. He is down a back, but crucially getting the Scuttle is rather important for him. And just looking at this top lane matchup a little bit more, this is one I'm really curious in. We don't see the set matchup much against the Gangplank, but as we can see, Zoom has great sustain against Nuguri, and even though Nuguri did have the counter pick in this matchup, it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to do much against Zoom, and this is actually very close to being a solo kill. He has to be careful about Zoom taking over to 6.
Yeah, Tian is waiting in the wings. I think Tian's on the same page as you there, Clement. You can see Yagao gets the Scryer's Bloom, will spot Tian out, and that means Zoom will back away a little bit. Huge lane pressure there. Kanavi's moving in the bottom side. Again, the Lantern available. In come the Flame Chompers. Crisp is caught, knocked down, and finished off first blood for Kanavi with the repeat gang.
Yeah, this is really good pathing from Kanavi. Just realized that this guy actually hasn't backed. He walked all the way from topside after taking Scuttle directly onto the bottom side. He did not go back for a reset for his boots. He went directly into the bot lane, and I love this about top junglers. What good junglers will do, what really separates great junglers from good junglers, is their understanding of how to get some of these weird pathings going off and be completely unexpected. I think that FPX thought that they were completely safe. They thought that for sure that Kanavi had to base at some point, and Kanavi just didn't do so. He just stayed on the map.
Yeah, often even though basing would theoretically be like the optimal way to jungle it, because you're unpredictable, you end up finding better ways to play the early game. So really nicely done from Kanavi. The answer from FPX is Tian now gets to be on the map first because Kanavi had to reset, now is up on his top side. So this will be the Drake for FPX. I do want to talk a little bit about the mid lane matchup if you've got a second here, Clement, because we were talking about how DoinB were expecting things like the Renekton, the Kled, and we did see this Orianna against RA. We saw it twice, but it felt like he struggled to have as much of an impact on this Orianna than what we saw from him on the bruises in that series. do you expect him still to play this roam-heavy style that we're so used to from Doomby when it comes to playing Orianna?
Definitely not. I think FPX is actually on a full scale plan this game around. If you look at the champions that they have when it goes into the late game, I do prefer the Orianna over the Zoe. I think as a baseline power, she will have more impact. In the meantime, JD Gaming trying to look for a play.
Great spell shield from Tian, but he's going to be put to sleep regardless. In they go, Flame Chompers onto Crisp, who flashes just about, but LWX is alone. And Loken finishes another kill. And JDG, we said first Drake is where they usually fight. They forewent the first Drake, they just fight afterwards.
Yeah, really well done there by Kanavi. He has his level 6 first over Tian, so he knows that there's a massive advantage in terms of the ultimates coming down. Also, Doinby wasn't able to join as quickly as Yagao was onto that fight. He already got the spell shield, just going with the sleepy trouble bubble, and most crucially, Loken was willing to flash on top of that to get the play going down. So I really like this play coming from JD Gaming. What the read is that early game it's mainly on the bot side. The other lanes have to scale up from FPX, and they have an open go sign to just go in whenever they want to. Kanavi once again coming in with the level advantage. This is going to force the flash away from the jungler and from the support once more, and I think we have an open kill lane right now. JD Gaming are just putting all the eggs into the Loken basket to hyper farm him up,
which is not the standard JD Gaming way.
Not at all.
Loken being the early game carry is not how JDG usually plays League of Legends. This is a different look for them, and I'm excited for it because it feels like coming into a series like this, when we look at the draft, it felt like FPX were reading how JDG usually plays the game, and JDG are saying, hey, we're not as predictable as maybe you once thought.
Yeah, FPX definitely with the perfect teamfight counter to what JD Gaming like to do, but JD Gaming just switching up the early game so much. Now we have this topside skirmish where Lilia, with the recent nerfs, doesn't have the ultimate, and Tian does have the paranoia, but it's going to be a big 3v3.
Kanavi gets the blue buff. Zoom is here with the Haymaker in, but he's low already. Shockwave only onto one. It's 3v2 right now. The Paranoia going to chase them out. Yagao's out of mana here. Re-engage could be possible. Kanavi does have his ultimate, but JDG back away. FPX, though, with a nice pick.
Yeah, really well done by FPX. They actually managed to pick out Zoom before he even uses the Showstopper. So, kind of interesting the way that one worked out. They just were able to burst down Zoom very, very quickly with the Shockwave. And, you know, that was a fight where I feel like JD Gaming, it was a fight that they potentially could have won, but it was just the target selection from FPX that was superior there.
So, Kanavi now gets an opportunity to go for a Herald just off of the back of the reset from FPX. He knows that Tian will be at very least on the bottom side of the map, so it's an opportunity for JDG to find themselves an influx of gold. And I'm not going to lie, Clement, I would not be surprised to see Kanavi start to path towards that bottom side of the map once more. Getting that gold into Loken's pocket sounds real juicy to me.
It's definitely possible. In the meantime, I do want to point out this is rather peculiar. Even with how much JD Gaming were winning out the bot side, we actually see double turret plates being taken by FPX in the bot lane. So I'm a little bit curious on why this is. I think there must have been like a misroam into the top lane. Maybe Luma will actually try to go and try to impact the top lane fight or something. But surprisingly enough, JD Gaming actually lose out on a lot of gold here. And now we see the Herald drop directly onto the top.
Nuguri, the target here, does have oranges, so should be able to remove one sleep, but he can't remove two. Kanavi get a go for that, but there's no follow-up because Tian arrived on the scene. So he'll keep his top laner safe here. Zoom pushes the wave in. Kanavi should be able to slam the Herald if they so choose, but it looks like they're going to back away for now. So Tian, being in the right place at the right time, denies the play from JDG.
I would much rather JD Gaming actually just use this on the bottom lane. I think they can get the most bang from their buck there if they make sure that this bottom lane is freed. It really means that Paranoia loses its best target. Like, going in for the bot lane is probably the best for Tian. It's the most easiest lane for him to succeed in. And that was a little bit casual from Kanavi throwing out the ultimate like that. I did want to mention on the patch, Lilia's ultimate has been up by 20 seconds for every single ring. And if you use a Lilting Lullaby, there will be those times that we saw like just in the topside skirmish where you don't have the ultimate and FPX can just force you because Shockwave and Paranoia have more upfront damage going into these skirmishes.
Yeah, you've got ultimates that really pack a punch on the side of FPX, but here we go. Look at the roams from Tian and Doinb. They want to answer in the bottom side. The Herald should finish this tower. Flash available. In they go. Cannon barrage down as well, but the Fear's not going to do all of anything. Loken walks away. Lumao still has the shield, but the Grey Health not even going to be used. As Doinb picks himself up a kill. It's a kill for a tower as the Herald got the charge.
Yeah, and we saw the combo in action there. Nocturne just being a ball delivery system. Point and click right into the front line. And JD Gaming, they just didn't have that mid lane zoned out right there. Zoe could not impact. But now Tian's going for a bit of a risky take right here. Loken still has the Super Mega Death Rocket. I don't think you can go for this Drake. Oh no!
Zoom TPing over the rocket, doesn't get it though. Tian gets the Drake. Can he get any more? Lantern on out as the Flame Choppers under the rest of the team. Sleepy across the squad here. In goes Zoom with the showstopper. Nuguri arrives just in time to get punched in the face. LWX still surviving though. Tian is 1v1ing right now. Up on the top side against Kanavi. Now FPX, they're trapped. Their health bars are low. Nuguri has to be the one to save the fight. LWX has shurikens, but not enough damage. Loken getting the resets and now onto Nuguri as well, as Loken is becoming huge in this fight. Triple kill for Nuguri though, as Loken needs one more also. He can't close the gap. He can't catch up. The zap goes wide and Nuguri gets out with his life.
A 5 for 5, and FPX actually come out pretty okay in that one. It was the Drake taken away, and Nuguri got a triple kill. So this is a massively accelerated gameplay coming into the fray. Already 3-0-2 right now. As we mentioned, Nuguri has been the main damage dealer on the team for FPX throughout playoffs, dealing 30% of the team's damage. It looks like he's about to have another carry performance.
Nuguri is set up for massive success on this Gangplank pick. Off the back of that fight, already has the Essence Remover to work with. He'll be heading straight towards a second item as well. And you can expect that those barrels are going to blow Loken and Yak out to smithereens if he's in the right position. But Loken also being set up for success. Let's take another look at how it all started.
Massively extended fight coming in at the start. Tian going the Paranoia route and them getting just the one kill here. It denies the gold going onto Loken, which is really important. And next is this fight. This fight was actually incredibly long. We saw 2 Mega Death Rockets coming out throughout all of this, so it was actually just one. It's pretty crazy. But JD Gaming do come in with the better flank on the first fight. And I do want to mention, this was huge from Zoom. I feel like he actually goes a little bit too far trying to get the backline. And Nuguri is allowed to free hit on the rest of the team. They take down Zoom at the start of this one, and Lumao also has to flash away really early. They focus LWX instead, and Nuguri just gets a bunch of kills right here. Gets one on Zoe, gets a double, gets the triple, and a really nice dodge away with the help of Crips to make sure that Loken doesn't get the final bounty gold back.
Yeah, that zap could have turned it all around, but now Nuguri gets to finish the tower off for himself. We already mentioned the gold that he got earlier. Now, plate gold did go in favor of JDG. While all of that action was going on, the bottom tower did go down first, so it's going to be even in gold. Fear goes down in the mid lane. There's a cannon barrage as well. Tian is under tower, though. One more tick of the red buff would finish the job. Kanavi can't get in range. A Swirl Seed might just be able to do it, but he dodges wide, and Tian pulls it away.
That was insane. I thought he was going to die for sure. Kanavi not able to get the Dream Dust on for the Lilting Lullaby was huge there. And Tian actually just walks his way with his life on that one. That was incredibly ballsy, and you can just tell how much damage Nuguri is throwing down at this point.
Yeah, this feels incredibly difficult to deal with for JDG because Nuguri is huge. And guess what? LWX is more than happy to be sat in a side lane at this point. He's a Phelios. He's only finished a Kraken Slayer so far. So LWX will take a little while before he's truly into this game. Right now, if you're a JDG fan, you got to be looking towards Kanavi and Loken. Those are the big damage dealers. And you can see Loken 2-0-3, pretty much even in CS as well, but already has his boots and Kraken Slayer. Once he gets that 2-item mark, that's where JDG are really going to start firing.
Yeah, I will say that this is a bit awkward coming in from JDG's side as they try to fight this one out. Right now, Kanavi he can't really go forward into the team fight. Nuguri will just blow him up. He has no armor whatsoever. He has to rush by Azanias right here just to keep his damage going. Not exactly what you want to do if you want to play snowball carry on the Lilia. So it's going to be a while for Kanavi to actually be that damage threat. I think for now, at least, he's just trying to skirt around the outsides of these team fights and get the CC down. So FPX, I think they have a decided advantage in snowballing the Drakes, and JD Gaming still need a bit of time to get online. I don't think they have the pick potential right now against FPX members, so they still need to find some ways to disrupt FPX before they can set up at the Drake, get some kills onto Yagao. He hasn't had a kill just yet, and also Kanavi still needs that Zhonya's where they can until they can properly take these 5v5s.
Well, it's 10 seconds until a Cloud Drake, so regardless of cooldowns, regardless of items, I expect JDG to fight right here. They love to scrap for these Drakes. They don't want to allow Soul Point to go over. Frost going to slow down B, but they don't get to sleep on through. FPX start this Drake up. Tian is on the scene, has his smite. Same level on the junglers here. Yagao's bubble goes a little wide though, as he's going to look for poke onto Tian, who's real low in the middle of the pit. In they go, the smite goes the way of Tian. In goes Zoom into the middle of everyone, still surviving. Shockwave comes down to finish him off. It's 1-for-1 so far. Tian in the back line gets sniped by Yagao. Oh, and there's a sleep going through onto the enemy AD carry. LWX burnt down, low on HP, flashes over the wall. Now the chase on from JDG is Yagao getting flashes, jumps on through. Yagao Zoe is out of this world. Onto Crisp they go as JDG finally get themselves the fight, but the hook in, pulled under the tower. Kanavi gobbled up by Lumao, and the rest of the team to follow up on the fight. Nuguri just about surviving on the lantern once more. JDG walk away with the kill advantage.
That was pretty much a single-handedly won by Yagao going into that. He gets a triple kill in that fight and tags every critical member down. Finding the poke onto Tian, making sure Doinby doesn't get out of that one, especially with the help of Zoom on the showstopper, and then also finding LWX after he burns the flash and the cleanse going in. That was, that's just Yagao doing Yagao things, man. That shouldn't have happened. I had FPX taking this one down in a very decisive fashion, but Yagao was just too big. That was a great flank. It meant that they didn't have a good Orianna Shockwave to zone out the entire front line. JD Gaming, their backline actually stays really safe. Yagao creating massive differences right here and really creating that space that allows the rest of the team to push forward. Remember, Kanavi and Loken can't really walk up against someone like Orianna, against someone like Nuguri that's sitting at 3-0 and 2, but it doesn't matter. Yagao bypasses all of that terrain disruption and just finds the backline.
And I love how it's like, for FPX, you think, oh, we've got our summoners for this fight, but actually it's Yagao has your summoners for this fight is really what was happening there. Yagao just darting around. I have to say, Nuguri almost one-shot Loken just after the fight happened. I thought he was going to go aggressive in the mid lane, but that will be a tier 1 taken in the mid lane now. 2 towers for 2, but importantly, Tian did get the smite down onto that Drake. So FPX on Soul Point right now. Granted, it's a Cloud Soul, but it's a Soul nonetheless.
Yeah, this is a Cloud Soul that I actually think doesn't really help FPX that much. They aren't really going to rely on their movement speed to kite. It's much more about their abilities. So what they really wanted was something like a Mountain. I think the Mountain would have been best for them, but, you know, you can't really pick what you get right here. And for JD Gaming, I think the equation has changed at this point. We are seeing the fact that FPX don't really have a tank on their team. There is no one that can take Zoe poke. If Zoe tags someone, then you just pretty much die. So, with that 3 kills going over into Yagao's way, I think it just means that there are a lot more opportunities for JD Gaming to set up picks, even if they don't have vision. Like, they could just tag someone and just... It's pretty much a Zoe 1v9 game at this point.
You said it before, Clement, how FPX's roster swaps have often been on whether or not they can beat JDG, whether or not JDG can stop them going to international tournaments after spring. Nuguri coming into the roster has been the latest roster swap for FPX. And right now in game number 1, he is looking to win out spring for them. He is looking to have a carry performance, 3, 0, and 4. He's got himself 2 items. He'll head towards an Infinity Edge you'd expect as the 3rd one. If he can get the barrels down, he can take over a fight. But with this Lilia, with this Zoe as well, could be difficult to find that positioning.
I really love what FPX are doing right here, and they're not trying to contest head-on, but just trying to play off the strength of Nuguri at this point. Nuguri can take the side lane fights very easily. He has no fear of Zoom whatsoever. And they know that JD Gaming are not going to respond with a potential pick. It's actually very hard to pick out Nuguri at this point. He has massive movement speed, the lifesteal is there, and also he can just cleanse away from Zoe. So he's the one member on the team that doesn't really fear Yagao at this point. So I like what FPX are doing. They're just folding into Nuguri's strong lane, making sure he gets further ahead, and they're going to try and use him to split push and try to avoid some of the fights coming in. And if they can split up JD Gaming, that also allows them to use their globals and try to get that sort of pick potential that their front line can deliver.
We're looking for these picks as the zap goes through. That's Crisp down to half HP here as Tian just about finds the gap between the bubble and the wall. 15 seconds, another Cloud Drake coming up, Clement. And it looks like JDG are going to be the ones in position for priority right here.
Yeah, this is the must-win one for them. FPX already poked down so damn low. Chris has to base at this point. I don't think they're going to do a full contest. This one is probably just a team fight where at most you send Paranoia in and you check if you can get it, but if not, you don't even try to think about it.
Dude, Flame Chomp is too OP right there. You just drop him on the ramp. It's like, what, are you going to walk into our bubbles? I don't think so, buddy. Easy pickup there for JDG. Nicely done. They take control of the river. They block out FPX. And when you think about it, actually, I hadn't really realized with the Flame Jumpers, the bubbles from Yagao and Kanavi with the Swirl Seeds, the zone control that this team from JDG offers is really difficult to deal with.
Yeah, it's not easy going up against blind spots on this JD Gaming team, so if they just get that vision control, I don't see FPX really full committing. I think FPX are great at denying people coming into their composition, but they can't actually deliver going forward. I think the offensive plan for FPX is a bit harder to execute. It requires a bit more finesse, and it most likely will require Nuguri to get that split push going in order for them to kind of find these picks across the map. So right now, I think JD Gaming are willing to match the 1-3-1 until they go for a big objective fight, and they just try to pick someone out. They try to poke someone down like they just did against Crisp.
See if they're going to be able to find that poke again before these fights. And one thing that is slightly favorable for the side of FPX is they do at least have a spell shield on that of Tian, so he can be one that is a little more willing to try and move closer towards the Zoe from Yagao. But I have to reiterate how great his Zoe is. Here we go, Shockwave in. Loken was fine because he got gobbled up. Lumao low on health, has to use that shield very early in the fight. Loken flashes away from Tian. That's going to be sleeps across the whole squad. In they go. The CC across the team. FPX blown asunder, but it's LWX. He's done everything on his head. How has he done that? Shreds them to pieces and FPX out on top.
That's a perfect ace coming in from FPX. All the time, people were looking at the 4-man sleep, but LWX runs forward after the cleanse and just pops the Severum Onslaught plus the Crescendum. That's the highest DPS combo you can get. He goes into the back line. There's no flashes on Loken after the Shockwave combo, and they wipe the floor with JD Gaming.
And I said we had to be watching Nuguri in these fights. I couldn't have been more wrong. LWX walks into the backline, just eradicates them. So it starts off onto Loken. I'm not even sure how LWX got into that position. I want to take a look.
Yeah, so the crucial thing to remember is that he does have a cleanse right here. So even after the damage goes through, he first tags out Kanavi, then goes for a very easy snipe and cleans out the entire backline. Zoom and Kanavi, I think they did their job, but the problem was that they couldn't focus down LWX soon enough. LWX wasn't hit up by the crowd control, and he had the best pairing of guns available to him. FPX are now on a roll. They're looking at the Cloud Soul Drake in 2 minutes, and I think at this point they truly outdamaged JD Gaming's composition. I don't think the Lilia carry game plan is going to come online at this point.
Yeah, the Night Harvester finished a long time ago, still only on the 2 items here. I feel like these fights are going to be on Loken's shoulders from the side of JDG. He has to be able to sit in the backline, free firing for a while to be able to win these fights, but that's so difficult to do against the cannon barrage of Nuguri with a Nocturne flying at him as well. It feels like Lumao is there to try and keep Loken safe, but then Lumao just gets blown up instead.
It was really well done by FBX. They popped the Paranoia early, get Doinby to get into position, and then just get the summoners out of Lumao and Loken with the Shockwave early on. So when the Paranoia actually lands on Loken, he has to instantly flash away. They get everything for them, and now Doinby's super low, and this could be the comeback.
Oh, zooms in on the back line as well. Doinby, 1 HP right here. Will be finished off with the Haymaker. Now onto Nuguri as well. In goes Tian to try and distract Zoom. Falls in the meantime. Kanavi's completely alone in this one. LWX just cleaning them up once again. A triple kill for him. And FBX are completely in control. TP now as Nuguri wants to rejoin the fray. FBX, they've already got a Baron. They can maybe look to end the game.
The area control in denial is too strong from FBX. They get the first pick, but that cannon barrage means that Loken can't actually walk up. Kanavi goes in by himself, and LWX just puts a gun to his temple, shoots Bambi down, and now they're about to close out this game.
Oh, Tian walked underneath the turret, gets taken down. Yagao with 1. Can he save the game? Looks like the answer is yes. Is FBX back away from this situation? Yagao holds on to this one.
Ooh, that's a really close one coming in from FBX. Nearly gets the double Nexus towers. And I do want to mention that in this situation, you have to be very careful about your own base. FBX do have a ward there, and ooh, half HP.
Nuguri is really alone here, but he's got a lot of damage. Might just 2v1, but Loken finishes him off. Tian's already down. That's surely the Drake going the way of JDG now as they can move over to that portion of the map. Doinby looks like he's sticking around though, trying to start this Drake off himself. JDG will move over. I think he was actually just fighting for vision.
Yeah, there's no way they can actually get this one. They don't have a smite, and they might give out LWX.
They're on LWX, so they're going to be able to finish him off, but the Shockwave comes on through. Doinby answers with 1 at very least. Onto the Drake here. Abyssal Voyage in. Lumao rejoins the fray. Loken actually gets some movement speed from the reset, but decides not to chase onto Crisp here. That's 2 Drakes on the trot now for JDG, and more picks going their way.
That was so insanely greedy from FBX. I don't understand why they're there. They lose their jungler, they lose their top laner, and they still try to stick around for this play for no real reason. Now we're going to watch the first team fight here, and just look at the cannon barrage. Loken is caught in a very bad place. He has to take care of the barrel before he can follow up, and meanwhile in the front line, Zoom and Kanavi are completely isolated. So LWX gets to deal damage onto the front line that don't pack a punch themselves. They can't deal with him, and that's the area of denial composition that FBX had drafted for themselves. Really, really well done by Nuguri. You can see his cannon barrage placement and just dropping the barrels one by one. He's not trying to change them, he's just trying to make sure that Loken can't move forward.
Alright, eyes on Loken in these fights. Will the cannon barrage stop him? Can Tian stop him? Loken is the shining light for JDG, but FBX, it feels like they've got his number. It feels like LWX is able to do whatever he wants in these skirmishes. Also, Nuguri's damage off of these barrels, he's doing like half of anyone's health. Anyone that steps up to Nuguri at this point in the game is getting one shot.
I do want to mention, look at this gold graph. Loken got a huge bunch of gold because for some reason, Nuguri just tried to outplay 1v2 in the brush. I felt like that was so unnecessary. FBX didn't have the jungler. It was like JD Gaming are nowhere close to the Cloud Soul, and then they gave over 2 kills for nothing at the end. So Loken actually just was able to outright buy a Bloodthirster after that because of those transgressions from FBX. It was very unnecessary for them, and we'll see if they have to actually pay a price for it in this game. I do want to mention, with the Nexus being so close to finishing, there's a potential for Tian to use Paranoia and FBX to use double TP to just close out the game. So it's actually very difficult for JD Gaming to move out of their own base. They have to be constantly on high alert that FBX could close the game out of nothing.
It's very possible, and that mid priority is going to be so crucial, especially when Baron comes up in 15 seconds. LWX has the red and white guns. It's perfect for rushing a Baron right here for the side of FBX. And you can see them moving over towards that portion of the map. Zoom shoving out that bot wave. Is Doinby will answer on the top side of the map and try and just make sure that him and his team have control of the area. And immediately that Baron will be started off. The Shuriken's going to be flying as Nuguri is there.
Has to body block as well.
JDG, yeah, nowhere near close to contesting this one. Zoom comes in and immediately gets hooked. He's just going to be one-shot. The shield does nothing. FPX, they might have just found the game right here. In goes Tian. A little bit lonely on that one. Has to back away for himself. A little over-aggressive on the ultimate, but all they need is to play this one slow. It's 5v4 in favor of FPX. They're looking at finishing the first game out in style here. Nuguri charging forwards pretty confidently here. Here they go. Loken pulled back. He was off on a flank for some reason. Flashes away for his own life here as FPX can just get priority through mid. JDG aren't even able to walk up to their tower to defend. Moonlight Vigil goes wide. Keep your eyes on Loken. He's the one that has to pop off. Nuguri gets your countdown. See you later, JDG. FPX absolutely demolish game number 1 with Nuguri having a star performance.
2 perfect aces coming in from the FPX composition, and I knew there was going to be a top gap somewhere, but I didn't know it was going to be a top gap for Zoom. This is completely unforeseen coming out from this one. Zoom having a really weird game, to be honest. I feel like a lot of his ultimates and face breakers didn't really land on their purported targets. He missed the first one in the bot side, didn't do well in the early 3v3 skirmish, and that Baron play was just a bit of a head scratcher. There's no way you can actually get in the pit soon enough, so your only play is just Jinx Rocket. That's it, and you kind of stay back and wait. So kind of an anticlimactic ending towards JD Gaming's